During the glory days of the Roman Empire, gladiators took to colosseums and put the audience in a trance due to their skill when it comes to surviving foes from all corners of the globe. These men lived for the fight and would never back down from a challenge. Owners of these fighters used to put their best through several tests, which included fighting against lions and bears, and that is where some of these men prevailed. Thousands of years later, we pay homage to these brave warriors and always seem to be on the lookout for similar men who would do amazing feats and carve their names into the annals of history. Today, you see these gladiators on the football field, dazzling us with their immense talents and making us jump off our seats every now and then. And while their careers are usually short, when they ride off into the sunset, they leave their mark on the game and live long in our memories. The likes of Socrates, Eusebio, Garrincha, Johan Cruyff, George Best, and many others came and left, but their achievements on the field are still talked about today as if they happened only a few days ago. Each footballing god was unique in his own right. Watching Socrates play was like seeing an artist painting a picture of Paris atop the Eiffel Tower. Watching Garrincha was a delight with how he used to fly past tackles as if he possessed godlike grace. Johan Cruyff defined the future of football and was playing today's brand of football in a time where defenders were unforgiving. And how can you not mention Manchester United legend George Best? The Northern Irishman was a unique talent who could hold his beer, sleep with Miss Universe, and score a hat-trick on the same day. When we say Best, we talk about a rock star whose talent is still a rarity. Hello everyone and welcome to yet another mind-blowing video on your favourite YouTube channel, Goalside. And boy, do we have a treat for you today. No matter which club you support, you can never have the courage to hate Ronaldinho. The football legend might have retired a few years ago, but what he did on the field will always remain evergreen. In the years since, tons of talented people have stepped up to the plate and tried to match his skills, but no one has ever gotten close to what Ronaldinho achieved on the pitch. This is a player who always had a smile on his face, and today we're going to discuss the greatness of Ronaldinho and what actually made him so good. We're going to talk about some amazing goals he scored in a trophy-laden career. We're going to touch upon the time when he broke English hearts and then moved to Barcelona to humble a Real Madrid crowd that is famously unforgiving when it comes to welcoming Barcelona players. So sit back, dim the lights, and let us walk you through the artist who created football in his own image. Always smiling regardless of how his day was going on the pitch, Ronaldinho is the sort of player you would fall in love with again and again because of what he represented, making a living out of the game with a big smile. Because he knew how lucky he was to have the opportunity to play the game he loved. Not many people are lucky enough to enjoy their jobs like Ronaldinho did, and the Brazilian genius showed the best qualities of a football player every time he stepped on the pitch. While truly great players usually have a rather serious demeanour, the same cannot be said of Ronaldinho, who was always a pleasant opponent but equally deadly when he had the ball between his feet. Watching him play was just magical and surreal, and the way he did those amazing things with so little effort made us wonder if he's actually from another universe of which we're not aware. It wasn't just the way he made people feel, it was the emotions he poured out of us by just watching him play. Whether you were sitting thousands of miles away from the stadium or in the front row, watching him was like listening to your favourite symphony again and again. Even today, if you go to YouTube and randomly select any video of Ronaldinho doing what he does best, it's a guarantee that you'll be taken on a trip down memory lane, and by the end of it, your system is overflown with nostalgia. That's the impact of the Brazilian. While at Paris Saint-Germain, Ronaldinho was doing ever so well. It wasn't before that fateful day when Brazil played England in the 2002 FIFA World Cup quarter-final, the Seleção were trailing by a goal, and throughout that tournament, the all-flair attacker was not getting as many plaudits as the team's star player Ronaldo. However, all this was going to change in a matter of seconds. Brazil were given a free kick from a position where whipping in a cross would have been the logical choice, but logic is something for mere mortals. Ronaldinho saw David Seaman off his line and whipped a delightful ball beyond the Arsenal shot stopper. Seaman could only watch and regret his decision as the ball ended up in the back of the net and thus started a new revolution in football, the likes of which we've never seen before. The world would come to know a way of football that stared at us for several years, a true meaning of the game, taken apart and enjoyed for its two biggest values, happiness and fun. And this is what Ronaldinho taught us during his time in Barcelona. While players save their best smiles for when they win the league, the Champions League, the World Cup or Ballon d'Or, Ronaldinho smiled when he was in the process of making history. Following the World Cup heroics, Ronaldinho decided to join Barcelona ahead of Manchester United, but it was equally surprising that Real Madrid didn't chase his signature. Apparently, a Real Madrid director claimed that he wasn't signed by the club because he didn't fit the Galactico profile: handsome, suave, and marketable. Madrid got the wrong end of the stick though, as Ronaldinho became a symbol of the common man with his long hair, that goofy grin, and the celebration. This was the time when Madrid would sink and Barcelona would rise from the ashes. The Catalonians had been the also-rans of Spanish football for several years, and it was Ronaldinho who resuscitated the ailing giant. The image of him heading towards the crowd with his thumb and little finger wagging became part of the Barcelona myth that to this day sends shivers down the spines of millions of people. He might not have been the most beautiful man in football history, but when he played, there was no other person who looked so majestic doing it. The slick moves seemed as if time had come to a momentary pause itself just to stand and admire the artistry of a genius who might have had a lot of flaws, but love was not one of them. When we talk about Ronaldinho, we talk about a player who believed that more than mind, football has to come from the heart, and it's only when you do it from your heart that you're able to spread joy around others. You're smiling because football is fun. Why would you be serious? Your goal is to spread joy, he once said before admitting that these were the teaching of his father, who worked weekends at Gremio's football ground. When it comes to players dribbling at great speeds past their opponents, the world has never seen anyone do it better than Ronaldinho. The Brazilian was truly outlandish with his stepovers, rubber ankles, sudden change of pace, no-look passes, and those nutmegs and lobs that would leave opponents gasping in awe, and for air too. His career at the top was not as long as we hoped it would be, but then again, when was the last time humanity ever enjoyed a myth in real life? The myth of the man is such that some can call him a flawed genius, while some would call him a wasted talent. Apparently the latter part comes out of the fact that Ronaldinho was the chosen one for whatever divine football purpose he was given, and did not fulfill the prophecy. He ruled the domain for a fleeting moment, but those moments are going to last a lifetime, because we believe that those were the moments that reminded us about all the good things life is all about, and how just a smile can cause a seismic shift. Which Italian football club did Ronaldinho play for? Answer this and you might win a $100 Amazon gift card. Make sure that you write your answers in the comments section. There was a time when Chelsea's home was a fort that no one could conquer. Let alone win, scoring a goal was a Herculean task. But Ronaldinho was no ordinary man. A shimmy, minimal backlift, and the ball went beyond Petr Cech, one of the best keepers of that time. It was a moment of humiliation for one of the strongest defences of that time, but let's be honest, there is no shame in being bested by an otherworldly being. Santiago Bernabéu is one of the most hostile territories if you're coming from Barcelona or Atletico Madrid. Ronaldinho made a mockery out of the likes of Sergio Ramos and Fernando Hierro and scored twice in a 3-0 Clásico drubbing. After sliding the ball past Iker Casillas for the second time on the night, something surreal happened. The same crowd who shout, jeer, and use all sorts of obscenities at Barcelona players stood up in unison and started clapping, applauding the genius and giving him his due respect. If we were to do a research on a precedent, we would find none, but then again, has there ever been anyone like Ronaldinho? While many people claim that Pep Guardiola brought about the revolution at Barcelona, imagine how different things would have been had the Catalonians not been able to sign Ronaldinho. Indeed, Xavi Hernandez claims that he brought the club back to life. When he arrived at Camp Nou, the confines were cold, and it was as if the giant's soul had been sucked out. It was an institution whose walls were crumbling and needed a breath of fresh air and inspiration. So Ronaldinho sat down, picked out his tools, and started putting back the crumbling structure bit by bit. It wasn't long before the Brazilian genius breathed life into the giant, who would wake up and has never looked back since then. We're pretty sure that if walls could talk, they would look fondly at the memories of their saviour putting his palms around them before heading to the arena for yet another day of showmanship. But it wasn't just Barcelona or Europe that Ronaldinho changed. In 2017, his career was pretty much over. Far away from the footballing communities he had been a part of, the former Ballon d'Or winner gets a call from Pakistan, a country which isn't known for its love of football. The legend is requested to come to the country at a time when its security situation was not too good. While other men would have politely declined, he took it upon himself to play football in Pakistan and even convinced the likes of Ryan Giggs, Robert Pires and 6 other players to join him. Since that visit, Pakistan holds international events on a regular basis, and the country has Ronaldinho to thank for it. He was football's great libertine, but it was exactly that attitude and a heart that always craved joy out of anything that made him the legend he was. More than just his skills on the ball, the Brazilian was the only one of his kind who literally brought party to the pitch, and used his skill as a form of self-expression. So this was our small homage to the football genius we all loved and adored. Let us know what you think about the video in the comments section.